Shubham, welcome. Having a thoughtless state of mind is a way of mind, and therefore it is also a sanskara. We will see it in the last sutra. But this sanskara, where it is thoughtless, what happens is mind is allowed to radiate all its powers of joy and illumination, which kind of works against completely annihilating the sanskaras which surface afterwards from the deep uh, abyss of your conscious, subconscious, unconscious, everything, right? However, this itself is a sanskara because a fight is going on. This fight is not done, but it happens. For example, our healing capacity or our immunity is continuously fighting, but we don't take any sense of doership there. So somebody says that you are fighting 1,000 diseases at this moment also, doesn't give you the sense of doership or sense of any pride. Correct. There also it is happening. There also it is happening that such a state when achieved, nirvichara vaisharadhya, and when ritambara prajna awakens, this truth-bearing prajna, ritambara, even if it is being termed as intuitive, it would be about something other than the self or not. Think about it correctly, think about it deeply. You will say it bears the truth about everything. Remember the statement. Wherever and whatever in the field of Prakriti you want to know, it knows. In its essence, in its totality, it knows. Right? So this particular aspect of mind, its illuminating power, because it is not being contaminated by the zigzag motion or this tug of war happening between raga, dvesha, etc. See how we are consuming ourselves in this world. We feel that we are consuming the world, the bhogas, but that is not true. Actually, the world consumes us. Correct. So those who save themselves from the world, दुनिया से अपने को बचाते हैं, they are able to live longer. They maintain their vitality for long. They remain young in a way. They remain full of capacities because they are not allowing excessive consumption of their own being by Prakriti, by the sense objects. Okay, so sense objects consume us. Now, coming back, all this is all that which is being carried out at that level of your nirvichara vaisharadhya, creating another kind of intuitive wisdom which is independent of buddhi, but still it is buddhi, that is why it is known as pragya. But it is highest buddhi. Correct? Highest buddhi, which is directly functioning under the influence of what you can say, Prakriti. Sama Prakriti. You see, Prakriti as creator or creatrix is uniform to all of us. What makes us different what makes Prakriti to operate differently is because of this ego which it is manifesting here, and the sanskaras that a particular chittam is exposed to. You should know that this particular prajna, which is said to be the apex of buddhi, because it is prajna. Prajna means the capacity to perceive objective world. For perceiving yourself, you don't require prajna. You know you exist. Your own existence does not require any special capacity. However, whatever capacity we are having as of now is just interfering that cognition of self. It is sullied, overshadowed, or disturbed or interpolated, heavily so, by our tendency of buddhi to engage in something that is not self. Both are knowing. Both are knowing. Knowing in the sense they both come in the quotes. They are knowing. Knowing about other, knowing about self. This recognition of self is like holding the mirror towards yourself, in which the Chaitanyam shines through, and you recognize yourself. But what are we doing? We are holding the mirror on the opposite side. So mirror is reflecting the world. In any case, you would require the capacity, the subtlemost capacity or the highest capacity of Chittam. Why it is being called Chittam? Only because it is individualized, conscious entity, knowing entity. It is the only component in us which is carrying Chit Shakti, the power of cognition. This power of cognition, Chit, becomes a Chitta, half ta then full ta. Chit becomes Chitta when it is differentiated, right? And when will be differentiated? Till the time its perceiver is ego, ahankar. When its perceiver changes, the perceiver becomes the Purusha, then the differentiatedness of the world is transcended. You turn the mirror towards yourself. And why don't we turn our mirror towards us? Only because we have so much things to do in this world. So many stories to tell and so many stories to create. And for that, we require the power of cognition. Because for everything, you need to begin with power of knowing. So you know what you want. You know what you desire. You know how to obtain it. You know what are the hurdles. You know what are you doing or what should be done. And you also know your actions. So Ichha Jnana Kriya, from the perspective of Tantra, they are all seated in the power of knowing, Chit Shakti. Correct. Here also, individualized power of knowing is known as Chitta. And it is attributed to whom? It is attributed to Purusha only. However, till the time ego continues to function the way we are considering ourselves, see, our ego, that we feel I am, this I amness is associated with many things. This I amness is associated only with the body identification. And wherever and whenever your body identification is dropped, a different ego is born, which is just there, not because of anything else, not because of its own association. So this pure ego When it becomes pure ego, then only turning the mirror can be turned inward. Otherwise, all the reflections on the mirror are going to be perceived by the ego, and then this ego, being the offshoot or the derivative of the Purusha, will also give this image, this reflection to the ultimate knower, that I am. The power of knowing comes from whom? Power of knowing comes from Purusha. And where it is reflected? Everywhere. Even Prakriti knows. All the three gunas know. They also know what is to be done to become a body, to become any animated object or any inanimate object, to become tattvas, to become mind, to become intellect. The knowing is there. This knowing is, as I said, percolated down to the gross tattvas also. Tattvas also know their own functions, but not in the sense of ownership. Their knowing is being. You see, there is a difference. For you, also the same thing happens. As soon as you are able to drop all your association, your being is your knowing. That is what is self-realization. When you are operating as a wife or a husband or a son or a daughter or employee or whatever, at that time you don't know yourself as that. You become that. Your being is knowing. Don't you just be without knowing. See, when you are a wife, do you always remember I'm a wife, I'm a wife, I'm a wife? No. This being itself is knowing. Who is becoming whom? Who is becoming what in that sense? Actually, this ego is becoming that. Right? So until unless all these identities are dropped, which means body identification is dropped, which means asana, prana, etc., everything comes in normalcy, then vairagya is not creating any ripples or desires at the level of mind, then the ego is purified at that moment itself. In this purified ego, another type of prajna is born in this ego. Please recognize this. Only this ego is still knowing. After calming down the mind, nirvichara vaisharadya, what is happening? A new experience for this ego comes. This new sanskara comes. This new knowledge comes. This new experience comes. This new experience is also an experience which is being experienced at the level of ego. First as ego, but everything which ego experiences is ultimately presented as a file or something immediate, download to the Purusha, because ultimate knower is Purusha only. However, the power of knowing that Purusha has been transferred into Chittam, where lies this ego, which also knows. And this ego, unless until purified, unless until dissociated from all its engagements, entanglements, and raga towards otherness, it will remain impure. Right? So, at that time, when this ego is purified, and purification of ego means what? You are nobody. When you say nobody, does not only mean that I am not playing a role. I am nobody means I am not the body also. This everything begins with this only. We begin to practice this I am nobody while carrying this body. It is impure practice. It is improper practice. Perfect nobody is no body. only consciousness, only knowing, only intellect, only buddhi, only mind, only ego. This is no body. What we are thinking, when I say nobody, what are you doing actually? From your ego, while maintaining your association with the body, you are first peeling off the onion, like roll after roll. You're thinking that as if I peel everything, then only nobody will be born. While this practice continues, so I'm not a wife, but you are still a body, right? I'm not a husband, but you're still a body because you're still feeling yourself as this body, and then saying I'm not a husband, I'm not a wife, right or not? With this identification, ego is still impure. It's not pure ego, because this ego, which is some element or entity available at the subtle level, is still identified with the gross. Gross means this body. And what happens is, in this case, you will continue to remain an individual. Who is an individual? The same Purusha, when gets associated with the body, becomes an individual. Correct or not? That is it undifferentiated knowledge when Ritambhara is born. In a way, yes, in a way, no. How? Undifferentiated because there is nothing to perceive. It is nirvichar. It operates when there is nothing to perceive. Correct? And if you want to know about something, then only that thing persists there. No otherness. So only one subject occupies the whole mind space. So it is undifferentiated only. Correct? Suppose you are doing dharana on Prithvi Tattva. And when this experience of Prithvi Tattva happens, and Prithvi Tattva presents itself at the level of experience, you are only experiencing Prithvi, nothing other than that. Is it not undifferentiated? Yes, it is. But it is not. Why? Because it's still at the level of Chittam. There is a possibility of multiple such experiences. It is differentiated as. In the time, it is differentiated in this sense. In the series, in the passage of time, it is differentiated only. Right. So Ritambhara will also create experiences. And any experience is a sanskar. Good or bad. Good or bad. What is happening, if I want to simplify it for you, when you are perceiving something from your own, you see, at the power of cognition is with Chittam only, correct? Let us not get back to Purusha. Whatever an individual is perceiving is being perceived at the level of Chittam, correct? And that is why I said, ki Chittam or mind is your self-appointed secretary. It will not leave you till the end. It is going to be there. Now, when you are perceiving something from this particular instrument, what it is doing? It is presenting whatever experience comes, whether it is getting to Chittam by way of Indriyas or by relinquishing the Indriyas. Correct? So ultimate experiencer of this experience which is happening at the Antahkarana or Chittam is enjoyed by whom? By ego. Correct? But it is also known by Purusha. Correct? Now, because the power of enjoying or power of experiencing that ego has comes from Purusha only. Correct? This much you should be clear. Once this experience is happening at the level of ego, it creates only two. When it is impure, it creates two different tonalities of experiences, which is known as sukha and dukkha, klishta and aklishta. When it is not associated with anything further down, which means indriyas, body, and moving forward all the surrounding, when it becomes purified, there is no experience to be done there, but still experience persists. This experience is known as ananda. Okay, okay. Now, ananda is the biggest ignorance. I have talked about it. Ananda is something which can hold you there forever. You would still be experiencer of ananda, completely immersed in the experience of ananda without recognizing yourself. That is the beauty of deep sleep also, by the way. Whether you actually remain as an experiencer or not. Now, this distinction is created, is available. I'm not saying is perceived, is available at the level of samadhi. Because experiencer is the level higher experiencer, the Purusha, has not been put to sleep by the play of Prakriti. Tamo guna has not become excessive. And therefore, ego and Purusha both are knowing the same thing. Same thing. That is bliss. Correct? From here comes the problem that are you experiencing this bliss without having an inward attention toward the self? And the moment you turn internally, you would start experiencing yourself, true self, which will be devoid of even ananda. Now, who wants to relinquish ananda? No one. That is why, it requires paravairagya. You see, so far all the experiences and whatever prajna refinement has happened, it has happened in the field of vairagya. Now, for the first time, when vairagya has become completely perfected and your chittam is not entertaining any raga dvesha producing thoughts, and therefore completely cutting off from the field of sukha and dukkha, what is created is ananda. Okay, ananda. Who is experiencing it? Ego and Purusha both. However, you would still want to remain an ego enjoying this ananda rather than jumping off it and going beyond ananda to know who you really are. That is why this Ritambara Prajna and all these samadhis which are being discussed so far, all the experiences which are being discussed so far are not nirbija, they are sabij. Because sabij means they are creating seeds for further desire, further ambitions, or further your attachment towards that ananda which you are receiving. All right. Suppose I give you a method where even while you are sitting, you just immerse yourself in ananda. Tell me, will you still want to know something more? No, I don't think. If you are experiencing ananda, that means you have crossed the barrier of sukha and dukkha. Now, this is the highest desire for you. This is the highest desire for you. Ananda. Ananda has come to you now. And how it has come? By dissociating yourself from the worldly stimulus or processing it in such a way so that it does not create any ripple or any sanskara on your chittam, right? What creates sanskara in our mind has to be in the domain of giving you some pleasure or pain. That creates sanskara. Anything in this world, anything in this world which just passes by, doesn't give you any pain and pleasure, it does not create any strong sanskara. It may be there as a smriti, but it will never impact your being, that state of mind. Correct? You have seen so many people. How many people you remember? None of them. They are lying there, but they are not disturbing your peace of mind. So when you learn this vairagya, when you become rooted in this vairagya, where you have learned to deal with this world without creating any hatred or any longing for any of the experiences, then new sanskaras will not be formed. You have to deal with only the old sanskara. For old sanskaras, what will happen? Now, while you are dealing with the world, you are dealing with in vairagya. When you are investigating or spending time with yourself, you are in nirvichara vaisharadhya. In this nirvichara vaisharadhya, you get the power to delete all the sanskaras which are previously created in your chittam. Right? This continues. And हमारे पास तो we have billions of lifetimes of sanskaras. This will continue. And that is why yogis say that after this state, even if you turn towards Purusha, because they have given a special status to a higher force which they call Purusha Vishesha. They are calling that entity as Ishvara. They say the Purusha can never become Ishvara. It is the inferior Purusha that we are. There is a superior, special type of Purusha or Chetana or Chaitanyam, which is the controller of it all. And therefore, it becomes really difficult for a person to go beyond this. Vairagya has been cultivated, but your all Vairagya was to come out of suffering. Suffering has ended. As suffering ends, equally true in the world, equally true in the spiritual journey. As soon as the suffering ends, your quest stops. Quest is dropped. No question to be asked. I'm in Ananda. In Ananda, this Ananda is individual. I'm in Ananda. And who is in Ananda here? Of course, ego. And who is Dukhi? Who is Dukhi? Who is sad? Ego. But then your question should be, is the Purusha Dukhi at that time? No. Purusha is still in Ananda. And therefore, this is how he is able to differentiate between the two different states of ego, experiences of ego. Joy and suffering. Suffering and joy is happening at the level of ego. The one who is giving the power of this enjoyment is always in Ananda. So when ego comes in Ananda, this ego starts experiencing Ananda, it forgets itself. It is no more interested in knowing who you are, who I am, where from this Ananda is coming. So this is how it works. And therefore, all the experiences happening at the level of sabija samadhi are also sanskaras. And all the experiences, they are of shanti, they are of ananda, they are of silence, they are of bliss, they are beyond comparison, but they are also creating sanskara. And therefore, here you stop. If here you stop and you don't move beyond, you will be born as either Videha or Prakriti Laya. You'll again get back to yoga. You'll again learn, and quickly so, Next time, probably in a year or so, you will arrive there and then again enjoy. Understood? Therefore, undifferentiated, differentiated need to be understood like this. Anything which any individual perceives in this world will always be differentiated. It is not yet Lokananda Samadhi Sukham. And why we are comparing the two philosophies and the two experiences of different masters? Because there is a possibility of going beyond this also, and which is actually subtly hidden in Yoga Sutras, not declared in any case. Because Patanjali takes help of Purusha Vishesha, right? Ishvara is created in the philosophy. He has taken the help of Purusha Vishesha, therefore he maintains it till the end. But maybe when you yourself experience it and arrive at that level of paravairagya, you would know that there is only one Purusha, that is me. But he is not opening his cards. He is giving you the whole philosophy to just continue doing and experience by yourself. Okay. And that's the reason Vedantins also don't have any problem with the yoga. Although they will say that the yoga that is being practiced will not liberate you completely because it is still rooted in Dvaita. Individuality continues. And there are so many individuals, then how can we say we are God realized? God realized means we have become God ourselves. So what yoga gives you? Yoga gives you a window to become yourself first. And in that, when you stay there, you maybe for some, it's an instant realization that this Chaitanyam is equally operating in everything. There are no two, only one. That is the culmination of the, or you say, refinement of yoga, right? Refinement, the ultimate yoga. So here, sanskaras are created even in this state when you are living in Ritambhara, because sense of otherness continues and they will continue to exist unless Advaita comes. Advaita comes when you drop your ego completely, means you are even ready to drop the sanskaras and experiences of ananda also. You have developed vairagya from this as well. You are not yearning or seeking ananda out of this, right? You are not actually becoming a, you are not becoming the bhokta of the produce or product or outcome of yoga or samadhi, which means you are not enjoying or creating raga for this as well. That is paravairagya. And actually, this is the subject matter of the next sutra. So, till here, yoga is talking of sabija samadhi, right? In Ritambhara. Sabij means Ritambhara is valid for both. Valid for the world also, for knowing the self also, right? It's just that state probably where we can say at the level of Shuddha Vidya we have reached in our state. Where Shuddha Vidya is clear understanding of Aham and Idam. Right? Shuddha Vidya is clear. This is Idam, Prakriti, this is me, Chaitanya. This is the highest yoga is promising. Not be above that. I'm not saying it is not promising. It leaves it to the practitioner probably. Because they have already gone beyond Maya. Parvairagya means that you have already transcended Maya. All Maya is created only to give you an illusion of a possibility that Ananda is possible in this world. Maya is this. Maya is illusion created by that higher force or Shakti to give you this feeling that Ananda is possible in this world. This is Maya. And all your aspirations are like that only. What do you think you are searching for in this dual world or in this differentiated world or being in this body? What are you searching for? Ananda. What else? Nothing else. Ananda is the ultimate desire that every creature has. And that Ananda is further mistaken as Sukha. One more derivative has come now. Right? Sukha in the moment is Ananda. But since it vanishes and is replaced by another sanskara or another vritti which is called dukkha, it is not termed as Ananda. Because it will go away. Right? And therefore, Sukha Dukkha, in the name of Ananda, in your search and quest for Ananda, you are actually shuffling between Sukha and Dukkha. This is Maya. Right? And when Maya is broken means what? I am not searching it outside at all. World cannot give this to me. Correct? When you turn inward, your first experience is Ananda. Now, this is sufficient in itself. Kind of. But because now you know that this self, even if it is termed as individual, Vyakti, that Jiva or Atman or Purusha, you now first time you know. I am this Ananda Swarupa and the world is separate from me. There is no Ananda in it. Correct. This is the feeling of a yogi. I am Ananda Swarupa, where not this in this body, not in this body, not in this world, not in the Indriyas, not in the Mana, not in the Buddhi, but only at the level of Purusha. I am Ananda Swarupa. And this Ananda Swarupa is also experienced at the level of ego when Vairagya is perfected. From here comes the power to a yogi. When he relinquishes it completely, then he has a chance to get transported to the world of Prakriti. Okay. Now, Prakriti, when we say, if he is ready to relinquish Prakriti, there are two possibilities. He goes beyond Prakriti, experiences self. Right? Knows himself only. In absence of Prakriti also. This is nirbija samadhi at the liberation level. But suppose somebody is trapped here, it will be known as Prakriti Laya. Because he died there, he could not progress beyond this. He would be Prakriti Laya. The one who has completely dissociated from all organs and come to the level of Buddhi, he is Videha. Right? This is my understanding. If some authentic yogi in a traditional yoga parampara comes and teaches me, I am ready to learn. This is my interpretation and my understanding. Let me give a disclaimer. Based on the philosophy I know, based on that I am telling you that if you are engaged in the world other than the body, you're not adhyatmic at all. Buddhi has to finally become, either it will become Prakriti or it will become Purusha. If it becomes Purusha, now you are self-realized, free, completely free. Now you've experienced yourself. This is called self-realization. Correct? And the difference between the two, sadhaka and siddha, should also be clear. The one who occasionally moves to this state of self-knowing is sadhaka. And the one who is established in it is siddha. Right? And this is why yoga is also called siddha marga. It is called siddha marga. The path of siddhas. All right. So if you are ready to relinquish even ananda, you're already God. Already God. Which means you have no complaints whatsoever. And what is your experience? There is no scarcity, there is no lack. And then you're not the body. Please understand everything together. You are not the body. You are just the knower. And knower is what? Purusha. Ultimate knower. When it is not associating itself with the body. Purusha becomes ego only by associating with the body. Purusha continues to remain Purusha, another entity is born. Right? For example, a man continues to remain a man and a husband is born. Man does not die to become a husband. In the same way, Purusha doesn't have to go out of the scene. It becomes an ego. By what? By associating with the body. Got it? By associating the Chetana aspect of it to a body, it becomes ego. Make sense? Okay. Now, I would want you people to go through all the sutras, whatever we have discussed. We are going to take a pause here in our discourses. Okay? Samadhi path is done. First try to assimilate it. First try to incorporate some of it in your life. Some vairagya, some abhyasa, some prachardhan, some Ishwar pranidhan, some maitri karuna mudita upeksha. What else? Is it academic session or what? No, पूरा योग सूत्र खत्म करिए. क्यों करें? अभी क्या कर दिया? अभी क्या हो गया सबका? What has happened? What have you gained? What improvements you could make? What elevation you have given to your consciousness after going through the highest yoga which Patanjali teaches? The samadhi path. Have you applied it all? We are going to take a break. What for? For you to go back to Patanjali Yoga Sutras again and again and again and again and then come back. Whatever I could do in Samadhi path, whatever I could grasp from Samadhi path, I have done and I have tried to apply in my life. Nothing more is possible. Is there any other way? Once you are frustrated, then come back and then we'll talk about the next path. But do apply. Try. Unless you try, it will become just an academic kind of a teaching. This is not intellectual learning, by the way. People come here to understand. One perspective on Yoga Sutras from Acharyaji also let me understand. I have anyways read so many commentaries. One more commentary. Maybe something more I know in yoga and in your life, being is knowing. Despite all that you have, good or bad, if you become more and more happy, more and more content, that is where yoga comes. Yoga is not about anything and knowing. And the vairagya is what? Vairagya, direct outcome of vairagya is ananda. मौज में, शांति में. Happiness is the quotient. Please always remember. Peace and happiness. At least this much you should attain. And I can tell you this is not possible without vairagya. And vairagya is also not possible without you being happy. Now think what you should do. Vairagya is not possible by a person who is already in the deep troubles, deep turbulent waters, so much disturbed, negatively oriented, filled with guilt, anger, and whatnot. Vairagya is not possible. That means you have to be happy. So decide where to begin. And I have always given you this hint, if you could probably take. Bhaiya, become happy for no reason. Decide that you are happy and you be happy. That's it. That will help you to do some practice, some spiritual practice. Even the vairagya can come there only. Everybody should understand. No one in this world, no situation in this world can make you happy beyond few moments. It's your choice. I have just added a disclaimer, just giving an name. इसका मतलब नहीं, I have never been happy in my life. No, you have been, but only for few moments. So no situation, no person, no bhoga can make you happy beyond few moments. So what do you want to do? You want to live other moments in your utter disgracefully and in that shabby state of emotional state, what we call suffering, not feeling joyous, not feeling happy. Huh? Then immediately change your practice. The one practice which I would want to give you from this Patanjali Yoga Sutra, Samadhi path, be happy. So please do this. We'll close it today. Let's pray and then we'll leave. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayah Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shivam.